Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.
This is a special intro for the podcast.
This is not on Back Row.
Right. This is an exclusive. Oh, I'm going to turn myself down just a scooch.
Just a scotch. A skosh.
There we go.
All right.
Level check.
Level check.
Better.
All right.
So this is a special intro because we have White Claws with us today, which is an alcoholic beverage, and we didn't want to announce that we were drinking alcohol on our Christian radio station that we're on.
It's basically alcoholic water.
Yeah, it's a hard seltzer. I've had one of these once before. Unce before, and it was really good.
They're pretty tasty.
There's like a whole big thing about White Claws right now, and I really love it. No laws with the claws is what they say.
Broing out with the claws.
Broing out with the claws, bro.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, satisfying. Do you hear that sizzle? That sizzle, bro.
Black cherry.
Ooh, that's good stuff.
And it's nice and cold. It's refreshing. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
Because we just got back from worship rehearsal.
I'm all sweaty.
Yeah, and I'm really struggling. I could tell that I have not sang.
I can hear it.
I guess I sang one time 3 weeks ago, but before that it was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so once in the last 6 weeks have I sang and led worship. And so I'm feeling it.
I can hear it in your voice right now.
Really?
Yeah.
This is very refreshing. I'm sure it's probably not great for my vocal cords.
Oh, no. This is the best thing for your vocal cords.
The carbonation massages the vocal cords.
That's right, yeah. So, do you want cheers? White Claw cheers?
White Claw cheers.
To the claw.
To the claw.
That is so refreshing.
It is.
I was thirsty, too. I got hunger pangs right now. I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
That's not really doing it, but I'm thirsty and I'm hungry, but this is curing one of those things.
Always great to have some alcohol on an empty stomach.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the best time.
By the time that I'm driving home from here, I should be
good to go.
Good to go. All right. So thanks for listening to this exclusive
intro only found on Podbean, Spotify,
iTunes,
YouTube.
Yeah.
Podcast app.
Yeah.
Is that the one Carol uses?
Oh, no, we got a problem.
Too bubbly.
So that was an exclusive. Maybe we'll do more of these.
Yeah.
We should just go through every type of alcohol there is.
This podcast slowly morphs into exclusive intros where we review alcohols, but then the rest is normal.
But then that turns into that's all the podcast is.
Yes. This exclusive intro, and then we have 5 minutes of podcast to send to Back Row.
Yeah, these keep getting shorter and shorter, and they seem wasted in what they're sending me. Okay, so let's do the intro that if you're listening on Back Row, this is what you would hear. What is it?
What does it take to be number one? 2 is not a winner, and 3 nobody remembers.
I don't know that song.
No?
Who is that?
Nelly, maybe? It was early 2000s.
Let's do there we go.
Satisfied.
Welcome to You Are My Friend and I Trust You, the podcast.
It's like radio, but not.
Yeah, don't even try to explain it. It's just too complicated. No one's ever going to really know what a podcast is.
What are podcasts?
I just started.
What is life?
What is... Who are we?
Love Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I just started listening to Conan O'Brien's podcast, and he sat down with Jimmy Kimmel, and they were just talking about like podcasting, and he was like, "Yeah, it's the only way that two white guys can have a conversation, podcasting." Because it seems like if there are two white friends around our age, they have a podcast. It's a flooded market, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, the technology has changed so much to where, like, I mean, our setup is overkill.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even, like...
We're under $1,000 on everything.
Yeah. And it's probably on the nicer end of setups where, like, we could do this with so much less. Like, anyone can do a podcast now.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool. Like...
yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of content. Not all of them are great. Ours probably isn't all that great, but it's about if you have fun doing it, and it's just a hobby. So
right, which is I think why we do this. We're obviously not doing this for numbers. It's cool when I look and I see, like if we've had a spike or something. But I mean, I think if we were doing this for numbers, we would have exited the game long ago.
Yeah, we would have shut it down.
Yeah,
shut it down.
How long do you think we can do this for? Before one of us says, "Hey, I think I'm done podcasting."
That's a good question. I mean, like we said before, a lot of it I think is going to depend on your next 6-ish months,
right?
Because you're getting married and your soon-to-be wife is looking for a career, and really the profession, like she could really go anywhere.
Yeah,
and so in the area that we live in Northeast Ohio, doesn't have a whole lot. So. Yeah, I don't know.
I will say to that point, she has applied to a place in Nashville,
nice,
and a place in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, nice.
Which Ann Arbor is only 3 hours away, so not. Excuse me.
This is going to be a problem because we're having pop.
Yeah,
lots of pop.
Lots of pop is what we're having. If you want to listen to, if you're listening on Back Row, maybe slide on over, check us out on Podbean or iTunes or YouTube or something to hear a very special intro to this podcast.
Exclusive.
Where we talk about the pop that we're drinking. But she applied to that place in Nashville and that place in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Ann Arbor's 3 hours away. Nashville's more like 9. I would rather, though, be down in Nashville, I think, just because I think it'd be a cooler scene. Nothing about Michigan excites me in any sort of way.
Not the winters?
Nothing about Michigan. It just seems like all the crappy parts of Ohio balled up into one.
Although I will say you're a lot closer to like really beautiful parts of Michigan.
Sure.
Like going up in the northern panhandle. Like that would be great. We've talked about wanting to take some trips up there.
Yeah.
So that would be cool. But yeah, I would probably be with you. The winters would probably not be worth it to me.
Yeah. And like Nashville, that's Tennessee. They hardly ever get snow, so I could year round my bike.
Yeah.
I mean, it would get a little bit cold, but
nothing compared to up here.
Right. So, yeah. And like with every place that she has applied to, like she has applied to Columbus, a place in Worcester, Michigan, Tennessee. Like every time she tells me she's applying to a new place, I like immediately hop on Craigslist and like start looking at apartments and like envisioning our life in this new place. And I will say Nashville has some pretty nice stuff that is not super expensive. It seems to me like as long as you're not like dead center city, you can live nicely, but still affordably. Yeah. You don't got to pay arm and a leg for a 2-bedroom.
The one thing I've heard about Nashville is the traffic is awful.
Yeah.
Because like their growth, their infrastructure hasn't been able to keep up with the growth. It's what the friends of mine who I used to lead worship with here, they lived in Nashville for a while. Yeah. And that was the one thing they absolutely hated. That. Also, sorry, if you haven't listened to the exclusive, I'm not sick. I just can barely talk because we had worship team practice before this and I haven't sang in like a month. So
and it's getting progressively worse and worse and worse.
Yes, it is. So sorry.
But
sometimes it comes back.
Yeah. For me, though, that wouldn't be a problem since I work from home. So my commute is...
You're just along for the ride?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I'm just here to help with the bills. Yeah. Provide body heat. But one place that in particular that she found, it was really dope. It was like, I would prefer a house like over anything, like a ranch style house, a little bit out in the country. But also, if I have to live in an apartment building, she has found one place that's really nice, super affordable, and it's in one of those places that has like the gym and the pool and all that stuff like attached. So if I have to live in an apartment, I would rather live in a place like that where I can just like hop down to the gym and do some gym stuff or go for a swim or whatever. And it's just all kind of right there, you know?
Yeah.
And that's included in my rent. I like that. But I don't know. So yeah, we'll see what the future holds. We'll see if I'm still even working at some of the jobs that I have now. Because this is a little sidebar from that. Just a little, I'm going to vent a little bit about my day. So I had a company give me, if you don't know, I work for a handful of different audiobook companies as a editor, sound editor, and a proofreader. So a company gave me a project, said, can you have it done by today, Thursday? And I was like, I can't. And I had worked on another one of these books from the same narrator, actually in the same series, but also the same narrator 2 weeks ago. And he was like, we want you to be like extra vigilant about like mouth noises, like spittle, like in between words and during words as well. And she had a ton of that in the first one. Also, her breathing was just horrible. Like she was not trained to read audiobooks very well. Because she would alternate between, which is fine. A breath like that's fine in between sentences. But then she would go, it's like, what are you doing?
Pick a lane.
Yeah. Pick a lane, but not that lane. Right. Not the nose lane.
Yeah.
But so it was a ton of editing in the first book I did, but this one was just a ridiculous amount of editing. But I said, I can't get it done by Thursday because I have other projects. I could do Saturday, which I started today, which is Thursday. Typically I can get it's an 8-hour long book. I can get an 8-hour long book done in 3 days, no problem. As long as there's nothing else on my schedule, with which I had nothing pretty much. But I said I can do it by Saturday at the earliest. So I sat down with it today and it was a nightmare. It was so much worse than the first one that I did. It took me, I did the prologue, which was 2 minutes, and 8 minutes into the first chapter. And it took me probably an hour 15 to do 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I had to email that company, be like, hey, listen, I'm not going to meet the deadline. Yeah. It would be impossible for me to meet this deadline. 2, if you want me to continue with this project, we're going to have to talk about a higher pay rate, because they're my lowest paying company by a long shot. So I was like, we're going to have to discuss a higher pay. And then I was like, I've attached a screenshot of, I explained the situation. I attached a screenshot of like my edits and how many edits there were, which was a ridiculous amount. And I explained my situation and that I could not meet the deadline. And I have 2 deadlines next week. So I'm not going to be able to work on it next week. So I was like, I just wanted to let you know early before I get way too far into this, so I don't waste my time or yours. So I think I explained myself well in an understandable way, but I still haven't heard back from him. And It's just eating me up inside.
I was waiting for a resolution.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no resolution yet. And it's killing me. Like, I'm going to have to call him in the morning, probably. Yeah. Which is not a phone call that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
So, but I've just been like my stomach, anxious, nervous all day about that. Yeah. I was like talk therapying myself. Yeah. Like, so why are you nervous about this? Oh, because this and this. Well, what do you think would happen if this and this happens? Basically, I think it's going to be fine. And if that company like fires me over this, which I don't think they will, but if they do, I'm fine with it because they pay so low. Yeah. And I'm making good money with my other companies.
Bigger and better things.
I guess. But that's where I'm at. I'm just all chewed up about that and wanted to get that off my chest. Maybe get your opinions on it if you have any. It looks like you might not, which is fine.
No, I mean, I would have probably done the same thing you did, especially being that they pay the lowest. Like, in my mind, the lowest paying would probably be my lowest priority.
Right.
Excuse me. And so, I mean, I think you did what you could do on your end, which is just tell them this is where I'm at, and I just wanted to let you know. So
yeah. So we'll see what happens. And that's just another thing about being a freelancer is the communication rate. Like when I get an email from an employer, I try to respond like as quick as I can.
Yeah.
Unless it's like after hours. I've been trying to establish like when I'm not working, I'm not working.
That's probably
I don't
a good
look
idea.
at emails on request of my fiance.
That's
So unless it's like an absolute emergency, but when I'm not working, I shut it off and I'm not at work. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I try to respond as quick as I can. Normally it's within 20 minutes. I respond to an email that I get. And then employers, it could be a whole 2 days before I hear back from them. Yeah. Just like, man. And then you're like, we need this immediately. Well, maybe communicate a little bit better.
In one of my previous jobs, somebody that I worked with, they would only respond to emails on Thursdays.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So it's like, man, I can't get anything like through,
Mm-hmm.
so that's frustrating.
How do you function like that?
That's like, in my mind, that's where setting boundaries goes too far.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you gotta be flexible. Like you do have to have hard boundaries on either end, I think, of your day. Like, this is when I start, this is when I finish. But within that, like, if something comes up, like, I don't know, you gotta be flexible. I don't know, but now I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't even have work email now. Well, I'd still technically do it with the church, but which I got in trouble for not doing my expense forms.
Yeah, you said you were getting yelled at.
Yeah, so what happens is, so I left full-time middle of July. And so May through like the middle of, I think the third week of the month is when our expense reports are due. So we get a printout of our credit card purchases. And then we got to fill out a form along with all the receipts to it. And I had left before that came out. And I don't live in the town that I worked at anymore. And it's not like a super far drive, but it's not even on my way to work where I work now. So I haven't even been in the city of Orville where I worked for a while. And so I just was like, I'm not going to make a special trip to go get this.
Right.
So I got a text from our treasurer, and then I got an email from my old boss. And then tonight, one of my old coworkers was like, hey, they wanted me to say something to you about you. I was like, I know. I was like, I'm going to grab it tonight and I will get it back. But I don't have to do that anymore. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And today we had they grilled out for us at work. So we had burgers and hot dogs and like pasta salad, potato salad, ton of stuff. Yeah. It was pretty great.
If I had less social anxiety, I think I would really enjoy working at a company like that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of did at P-Gram, except I was on thirds. So I didn't really get that. But like first shift, they got like ice cream sandwiches when it was hot and the AC broke, which happened every summer at least 3 times. So they would get ice cream sandwiches. They get food catered in. They would get Domino's or whatever. Like every Friday they had like, because it was a lot of Amish that worked there, they had a big carry-in lunch every Friday. But I never experienced any of that.
Yeah. But that's what, especially so like the atmosphere that I work at, it's all super laid back for the most part. Like you have like people with personalities who just don't get along well with other people.
Yeah.
But what's nice is for the most part, everybody wears headphones and listens to whatever they listen to. And so you're working together, but you're not really. Yeah. Because it's so loud. Yeah. And so like my position's kind of unique because I interact with all the different areas. So there's a front shop, a back shop, and then like shipping, that there's a few things in there. And so I kind of service everybody. And so I get to know everybody, but then like everyone will, like I know who's like feuding with other departments, like the finger joiner guys who get all of the, they call them off balls. So like if we're cutting a board, this is not great podcast material. Never mind. I'll tell you this off podcast.
Sure.
But
people in departments get upset at people in other departments because they did something wrong.
yes,
But it's always somebody else's fault. It's never that one department's fault, at least in my experience.
yes. And
Or like shifts. I don't know if your company has shifts.
we don't have shifts.
That's
no.
great.
First shift.
But it's like seems like third shift, everybody dumped on third shift. It was always third shift's fault when really it was second shift's fault, but there were no supervisors on second shift. They would be in at like the beginning of second shift and then they would leave. And then second shift just did what they want. And then we would have to clean up second shift's mess.
Yeah.
And then our supervisors would come in at the end of our shift and they'd look at the numbers for the night and they're like, well, why is everything so low? And we're like, well, because second shift screwed us over. But
Shift work, man.
it sucks, dude.
Yeah, we only have one shift.
That's
kinda
great.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm enjoying life.
Good.
We went camping last weekend.
You got sunburn. You said you got itchy shins.
I
from
got
the
itchy
sunburn?
shins and itchy tops of feet because we camped and then we were near the Mohican River in Ohio.
Nice.
And so we went tubing down the river on Saturday,
Yeah.
which I'd never been tubing. I've been canoeing or
Really?
kayaking.
Tubing's where it's at, man. You're so lazy. You just sit in that tube and float.
Yeah, but what's hard is when you go with someone who wants to stay with you.
Oh, what you do is you got to get a rope and tie your tubes together.
I know that.
Or tie your tubes, man.
Got to tie my tubes. Well, I know that now.
Yeah. Or
But-
just hold hands the whole time, which gets annoying.
Yeah, which is what we basically did.
Yeah.
Or I would just hold her like the tube had handles on it.
Yeah.
So I just reach over and hold it. But it got to the point where the river had been up so much the last like 2 months, it had been closed. And this was the first weekend it was open.
Ooh.
And so there was a ton of people out there.
Yeah.
And so we would try to like wait and let people go and find the gaps in people.
Mm-hmm.
Because like one, people are just kind of annoying,
Yeah.
especially drunk, like obviously underage people.
River folk.
Yeah. And
Which, by the way, you're not allowed to have
I
alcohol
know.
on that river.
I know. That's why I don't get. I was like, I feel like if I was a DNR guy, I would just sit
Oh, they
at the
do.
river and just be like, come here.
I had a
And-
buddy who was a cop in Loudonville.
Really?
Like right in that area, he would police the river. He said they pulled drunk people out of the river all the time.
There was a group on our bus back who literally had a beer bong and and a floating cooler. But also, what was also amazing is the amount of people just openly smoking pot going down the river.
Oh, yeah.
Like, again, because like, I'm thinking this would be a perfect weekend for a cop to just sit there and you could get picked up so easy.
Mhm.
But so anyway, we got this system where I would have to turn. She would just grab onto my leg and I would paddle backwards because it was the easiest way to do on a tube.
Yeah. Yeah.
To like grab a branch, and I would just grab hold of a branch. She would hold my leg, and we would just sit there while the river ran and people passed us.
Yeah.
We're super old,
Yeah.
but no, it was really cool camping for the first time as a couple.
Nice.
Which I love camping.
How does
Like,
Allie like camping?
well, yeah, that was the big question because I love my wife. She's said it before. She's a little high maintenance,
Okay.
and that like she likes like clean facilities, like stuff like that. And so I grew up camping as a kid with my family, and I loved it. And that's something I would really like to do with our family because it's cheaper than hotel. Now, obviously, getting into it, there's an investment. But so anyway, I was like, man, I want to go camping, but I don't want to do tent camping the first time because that would probably just turn her off.
Right.
So my dad has a pop-up, the one we stayed at in camp last
the
year.
AC.
Yeah, with the AC.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we borrowed his Jeep and his...
Pretty clean as well.
Yeah, he keeps it really nice. I mean, it's an older one, but yeah, I mean, it's clean. The air conditioner works great. And it's super easy to put up. And so we use that and it went really well.
Nice.
We've actually been talking about how once we get some of our debt paid off, like basically we have my student loan and then the car that are our two like goals right now because her student loans it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So like if we get these two things paid off, we'll feel like we made progress.
Sure.
And at that point, we'll look at like saving up to maybe do like a pop-up camper or something. But we want to renovate it.
Okay.
We've been looking online. People will buy these older campers and just like renovate them, put in nice flooring, paint the cabinets and stuff, redo the ceilings.
Yeah.
And with a pop-up, it's so small. They said like most of the flooring, they'll use like luxury, like vinyl planks and stuff. And it's like $30 because the flooring is so small. And so anyway, that's what we're looking to do now.
Nice.
So I am retired mode right now. It's not going to last forever probably, but
yeah. Eventually you'll have kids and
yeah. And
the retired mode ends.
I may not stay at this job forever. And
yeah. Who knows? But I think that job, if you want to stay with the same company, you could advance within that company, I feel.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
That was one of the things too. I think I have my 90-day review in September. And I'm going to ask about like, if having a CDL would be beneficial at the company because like they do have delivery drivers and stuff. And the shipping guy will leave every now and then with the truck. And he's getting older. I'm like,
there you go.
Hey, if you guys want to pay for me to go get that.
Yeah.
So
some companies do that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a life update where I'm at.
You were talking about Allie being kind of high maintenance and like not probably liking camping. Emily is the exact same way.
Yeah.
I don't want to call her high maintenance, but she does not like getting dirty or dirt, anything like that. And I mentioned camping the other day, and it was a hard no.
Really?
Yeah, from her.
Really?
Which I'm not a huge fan of camping either. Like, I really don't enjoy tent camping anymore.
I hate tent camping.
I used to like it, but it's just always hot, and I don't sleep well.
I wouldn't do tent camping.
I did do 2 summers ago, or maybe it was last summer, I don't remember. Me and some buddies, me and like 4 other guys went up to a lake and brought like a boat and did that. And that was a lot of fun. And we just stayed in tents. And that was when you're doing it with friends like that in just like guys being dudes sort of setting, it's nice.
Right.
But I don't know, just if I were to choose an activity to do, tent camping would not be high on that list. No. But if I had a camper like yours with the AC, I might be a little bit more inclined to go do that.
That might be one of our married trips.
Oh yeah, our couple trips.
And I will tell you. So we went to Mohican Adventures in Loudonville.
Yeah.
Because I was looking online and all the reviews were great because their bathrooms and shower houses are like individual rooms.
Nice.
And it's like newly updated. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get the nicest thing I can get for her first time.
Ease her into it.
So
maybe we should do that.
Yeah. And she really liked it.
I will say the last time I went tubing on that river, we snuck in. Because did you have to pay to get into the river?
Yeah, because we used one, like we just went through the campground.
Yeah. I have a buddy that his grandpa has a cabin like way downriver. So we parked down there and then drove back up and then like snuck in so we didn't have to pay and then floated the river. That was the way to do it.
Yeah. If you have your own tubes.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we actually talked about, doing that next time.
Yeah. Do you have to pay if you have your own tubes?
No, I mean, you just got to find a public spot to go in.
Oh, I see. We went in a non-public spot. But my one buddy had like a monster truck inner tube, like just a massive inner tube. It probably stuck. He was probably 4 feet out of the water on top of this thing, just above the water.
See, to me, that's too hot.
Yeah, he said he made a big mistake because he was just so far away from the water. He was just roasting on top of that thing.
And like the tube itself gets hot.
But it was super hilarious just to see that massive tube floating down the river. But that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
So you're going to storm Area 51?
I cannot wait. I really hope that happens.
When is this supposed to happen?
I don't know. Not soon enough, though.
Yeah. Like I saw something on Twitter, and I just saw like a headline.
Yeah.
And then didn't look into it. So I don't know when it's supposed to happen or.
I don't know. But there was a thing going around on Twitter, like Storm Area 51. We're going to get like a big group of people and go
see them aliens.
Go like just invade them. They can't take all of us down is like the mentality. But I think there was 400,000 like signed up to go do it. So, but 400,000 like nerdy dudes versus the security at Area 51.
Yeah.
It's, I mean,
I saw where the Air Force basically said, please don't come here.
this will not end well for you. So, I mean, I am super curious.
Yeah, because like think about the backlash if they took action against civilians.
Oh, yeah, that'd be terrible.
But what are you supposed to do?
Right. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I don't think that there's aliens or anything there. I really want there to be, but I don't think that there is.
I think it's more so technology in my opinion.
I think it's like tech development. Yeah. Because like the government had plasma TVs back in the 50s. Yeah. That was technology that they had developed a long time before it was released to the public. This is true. This is fact. You can look this up.
This is like the 5th time you've brought this up on the podcast.
Because
that's why I'm laughing about
the best fact. It's the most explanatory fact, you know? But
you just like sound like one of those old guys who like finds a fact to back up their argument and will always go to it.
I'm a young guy that does that. But the government has technology we don't even know about. Yeah. Who knows? And they're probably developing it there. But you're not going to find what you think you're going to find in Area 51. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's a good point that you make is what are you supposed to do as the government and as the people, the military protecting that base? What are you supposed to do?
Right.
You're going to do what you are allowed to do, which is if they enter the premises, after a certain point of noncompliance, you can shoot them. So that's probably what's going to happen. If people actually attempt it, that's probably what's going to happen. People are going to die.
Or do you think that there will be some new non-lethal technology that gets used that they've been developing?
Probably, yeah. They probably have some non-lethal stuff set up. I know that I saw a YouTube video of it. It's it basically shoots like microwaves at you and it feels like your skin's on fire until you get out of the ray. They call it the death ray. But they shoot this big microwave at you and it cooks you for a little bit. Doesn't hurt you really like long term, but it hurts like a ton in the moment until you get out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they got tons of crazy stuff. I saw this one thing. They were developing a distance controlled laser. So what this thing is, I think it was the Russians that were doing it. Or maybe it was us. I forget what country was doing it, but it's a laser that you can fire, and at the end of it, and you can control the distance of the laser, is a orb, like this thing, this ball of light that glows and pulsates, and they were able to send like audio through it. Nothing distinguishable, but it's like a fear thing to strike fear in enemies, like that sort of tactic. But they said that they're very close to being able to send like whatever they want audio wise to the end of the laser. So right now it sounds terrifying. I heard a video of it on YouTube. It sounds absolutely terrifying. It's just like that sort of stuff. Just like this thing just appears.
Oh, yeah, that'd be super freaky.
Yeah, I'd get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
But soon they'll be able to send messages like words through it. So this thing appears and just starts talking to you.
Is the laser going to it? Is it visible?
I believe so in the thing that I saw. Okay. So you can see that is that, but I still don't think that takes away from the, if you didn't know what that was, all of a sudden that popped freaky. Up. Yeah. How would you, let's say you're in the middle of the ocean, just treading water, and all of a sudden a whale comes up to you and wants to fight you. How are you fighting a whale? Like a big whale.
I think you're screwed.
Right?
Because, like, at first it's like, well, you could just, like, grab onto its fin. But it takes you under. You're done.
And it's going to take you so deep that you just pop.
Right. Yeah, I think you just give up.
Here's my strategy. I let it eat me. I get swallowed by the whale. and then I just start ripping apart its insides.
Well, wouldn't you drown in its stomach acid or be dissolved by its stomach acid?
Well, you got to get out of the stomach quick is the thing. So you take a big old breath, and then you get down in the stomach, and then you just claw your way out, and then you're in the rest of the whale.
Did you get this idea from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, I forgot that happened. What is that thing that eats him?
I forget what they call it, but he's like trying to stab out of it.
He's just in the
Not doing anything, actually.
But that's literally, if I had to fight a whale, that's the only thing. Which is crazy to think about. Like, in water, a whale versus me, the whale obliterates me every single time. Like, it just smacks its tail down on me or something.
Yeah.
Or just chomps me. I have zero defense against a whale. I can't even outrun it. But then you put a whale on land, I win every single time. Because the whale's completely defenseless.
We just watched The Other Guys the other night. The scene where they're talking about the tuna.
Yeah. If I was a lion, I would go out of my way to swim to the ocean and eat you.
A lion? Lions hate water. Good movie. Check it out.
Yeah, it's a solid movie.
If you're not, this isn't for our back row audience.
Oh, no. Don't watch it if you're listening to this on back row, maybe don't.
By the way, speaking of stuff like that, so have you ever heard of VidAngel?
No.
Okay, so VidAngel was this device, or is this device, it was developed, I think, back in the early 2000s, that people could put on their TV. And it or post DVD player.
Okay.
So basically it's between the TV and whatever you're coming into it. So antenna, DVD player, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it filters out like bad words and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard of stuff like that.
Okay. So there was a family at our old church who had this. So just recently, like all of the major movie companies filed a lawsuit against VidAngel for copyright infringement because they were changing the copyrighted material. Yeah. And I mean, it's like absolutely, I forget the actual number, but it's astronomical.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, they're basically editing the copyrighted material, which you can't do.
Right.
So I thought I kind of saw that. And like, I am one who, I think certain things are definitely bad for you to consume, like porn, like we talked about.
Right.
But to shelter yourself from it sets you up for failure when you're in the real world, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so stuff like that, like, and people say, well, what about your kids? Well, just don't let your kids watch it if you don't want to watch it. Like, they can wait till they're older and they can handle it. So I found it very kind of ironically funny that.
Did you ever experience one of those VidAngel boxes?
I did at one point.
Did it work?
Yeah, I don't remember how it worked, but it was that family from our old church that's
interesting technology.
So, yeah, I think it just like muted it.
Just muted it?
I think.
That's interesting. I wonder how it picked up on that.
Yeah.
Like picked up on, would it also like get rid of naughty scenes?
I don't remember. I think like later technology does because I'm pretty sure it's more so like updated by like the internet. So like it kind of they had a running list and people would basically mark out different movies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Again, I haven't really looked into it a whole lot because I don't necessarily believe in it. So yeah.
To expand on this topic a little bit, you said that some things are fine to view, you know? I just had this conversation with Emily and she got so mad at me for being pretentious and stuck up because I don't really like watching TV shows that air on like NBC or ABC or Fox, like just antenna TV type channels. Like TV shows, in my opinion, that air on those, besides like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if it's like a drama, I will not watch it if it's on ABC or NBC or something like that. Because I think that when you dumb stuff down like that, like the violence and the language, that just takes me out of it. Like when it's so dumbed down, when there's no gore, like when somebody gets stabbed and there's like no blood. And she said, "You're so stuck up and pretentious," and she slapped me. Not in the face, but in the arm.
So I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
So we talked about a couple weeks ago with the porn addiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you get to a point where you need harder stuff and harder stuff and harder stuff to make you feel anything. Right.
This is a little bit different from that, because if you watch something like, they're kind of like Fox and whatever and NBC, they're kind of getting more like edgy, like within the past probably 20 years, you know, you're seeing more violence and stuff than you would, but also like watch Law and Order, and there's crazy stuff that happens on that show. But a fight scene to me where somebody is getting shot or stabbed and there's no blood, that's not real to me. Also, when somebody is talking and like it's a bad guy, it's a villain, and they say 0 cuss words or like really mild ones, I'm like, that's not a villain to me. A villain to me is somebody that's ruthless and evil, and I want to see that ruthlessness and evil. I want to see some gore attached to that. I kind of had this conversation with my dad because we just watched Godless on Netflix. Netflix is great because they can do whatever they want as far as gore and violence and profanity and stuff. So we're talking about, because Godless got pretty violent and pretty gory. But the main character, or the main evil character, which is Jeff Daniels, an absolutely amazing performance by Jeff Daniels, you see him do some really violent stuff, but that helps set up the evilness of his character so well. When you see that violence, like that really added to his character, versus like if you were to watch that on TV, I don't think that you would have been able to build that character and the evilness behind that character as much as you would have on Netflix, where you can show more gore. Whoa, excuse me. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Also, I just think the writing's better. I think
That's
the
fair.
budgets and the writing are better on stuff like Netflix and on Hulu.
I'll be really interested. I know we talked about this, I think, on this podcast with all the different streaming services, what that's going to do to Netflix, because how much revenue they get from having
Basically a monopoly on the market.
right to where they've been able to just dump ridiculous amounts of money into original content. But when that starts changing, it'll just be interesting to see how this all plays out in the next 3 years.
Yeah. Even, it's interesting too. Oops. Great. Sorry, it's a work email.
Was it the one you're waiting on?
No, this is a different one. He might call me in a second. I'll have to just put my phone on mute. Sorry. Yeah, it's interesting though, because Netflix, they can experiment with shows and dump money into shows, and if they don't work out, they can still have them on their platform and still make money off of them. You know, they don't have to lose a crazy amount of money on it. Excuse me. Sorry, but I think the point that we were saying in whatever podcast, however many podcasts ago when we were talking about this, is when you get too many cooks in the kitchen, too many different companies doing that, then less people are going to subscribe to Netflix because nobody can subscribe to everything.
Right.
So eventually Netflix is going to lose funding, lose money coming in, and their content overall will go down. But nobody is going to be as good as Netflix is. In my opinion, I don't think that anybody else could come up and surpass Netflix at this point. So everybody is just going to be kind of mediocre. Nobody's going to be really good. Like Netflix has put out some super good programs. Ozarks.
Their documentaries are fantastic.
Documentaries are amazing. Stranger Things. Like some really groundbreaking stuff. But when you just have mediocre budgeting, that's what you're going to get. So, yeah.
I'm crashing hard.
I'm super concerned about this work email now. So I'm just going to look at it because it says need fix Mark Eaton. And I'm just ready to be done with it.
I'm still adjusting to my new schedule. That and it's super hot out, and so that drains you. So I want to be struggling if we continue.
Okay. Yeah, we can end it.
All right.
Ended it a little early compared to our last ones.
Which still, like, we would have killed for this time.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
because, like, back those first episodes, we were struggling to get, like, 15 minutes.
Yep.
And, like, recently, we've been rocking out an hour, no problem.
Easy. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Beautiful cover girl.
Easy peasy, beautiful cover squirrel.
Cover squirrel.
Do you want a kazoo?
Am I kazooing?
I mean, technically, it's my turn to kazoo, but since you're so tired, do you just want a kazoo?
I don't care.
I'll let you do whatever you want to do.
All right, I'll kazoo.
Do you want to do the outro?
For the kazoo?
To talk it.
Oh, I can do whichever one.
Which one do you want to do? Make a decision.
I can talk it.
Okay, I will kazoo it.
It goes so high. This has been You're My Friend and I Trust You podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this kind of mediocre episode. We talked about life. We talked about aliens. We talked about entertainment. And we hope in the end that's what you've been, is just slightly entertained. Maybe you had yourself a giggle. We appreciate hearing about those giggles. Send us your giggle story on Twitter at My Friend Podcast, or email us your giggle story at itrustyoupodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear them. And remember, you can always find us on Back Row Radio on Mondays. I can't even remember anymore. Monday mornings? No. Fridays. We come out Fridays on Back Row Radio, and you can find new episodes Mondays on iTunes, the podcast app. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you want to hear our sweet, soothing voices cusp your ear holes. We'll be there. So check us out. You can find me on Twitter at the Jordan Benter. You can find Donnie at
Don Moretti.
And we hope you've enjoyed your time with us. And we will catch you next week. So we'll see you then, or I'll see you at another time.
Just two dudes having a conversation.